Okay, let's dive into this material you've shared. For most of our lives, really, when we heard marketing, what we actually pictured was advertising,
Yeah, exactly. Buying ads, pushing the message out everywhere.
hoping that, the money you spent just automatically turned into sales. It seems simpler than, almost fun in a way,
Yeah.
like chasing fame for your product.
And to be fair, for a long time, that basic formula did work, especially for big players. Attention wasn't quite so fragmented.
You could broadcast.
You could, but this material is pretty clear. That era, it's over. We're just swimming in information now. So much noise. The old way of just shouting louder, it gets lost.
So asking, how do I get the word out?
Yeah.
And thinking the answer is just buying more ads, maybe digital ones now.
That question itself kind of misses the boat, doesn't it? It skips over what real marketing has become.
Right. So if it's not just broadcasting, what is it? What are we supposed to be doing instead? That's
Yeah.
what this deep dive is all about, using your sources to sort of map out this new landscape. We want to figure out how to be, I guess, different marketers, ones who really see who they're talking to, build the right kind of tension, find their tribes.
And make stuff that people actually want to talk about.
Yeah. So the mission here is to pull out the really key ideas from this material to get a handle on what modern effective marketing actually is, way beyond just getting the word out.
Okay, let's start with that core shift. The sources really hammer home. It's not that advertising is marketing. It's more like advertising is now just one possible tool, optional even.
One engine you might use for growth, but not the only one.
Right. And the sources point out a problematic side effect of that old industrial approach, what they call shameless marketing.
Yeah. The spamming, the tricking people, the pressure tactics,
Yeah.
all focused on the quick buck.
Exactly. And that stuff, unfortunately, gave the whole field a bit of a bad name. It makes marketers who genuinely want to do good work almost hide from the label sometimes.
It's an interesting point they make. You don't see that same kind of professional identity crisis in, say, civil engineering or accounting.
No, you don't. It suggests the issue wasn't reaching people, but maybe how it was done, often just for scale and profit, without much thought for the person on the receiving end.
Which makes the contrast with effective marketing, as described here, so stark.
Totally. Effective marketing starts deep, understanding the customer's world, their hopes, their dreams, what they really desire.
It's about making something so good, connecting so well, that people would actually miss you if you disappeared.
Yeah, and consistently delivering more value than expected, especially to those who've given you their trust. The sources frame it as fundamentally generous, not just, ethical as an afterthought.
So the core idea seems to be marketing is really about making change happen.
Helping someone get from A to B. Maybe that's from being confused to feeling clear, or from feeling stuck to feeling capable.
Or helping them become a version of themselves they want to be.
Exactly. And you can't make that change unless you truly understand who you're trying to reach, which throws that whole rational customer idea out the window.
Oh, definitely. We learn in, Econ 101 that people are rational agents, weighing costs and benefits.
But real life and these sources show it's just not true. People are messy.
We act on impulses, right? Sometimes completely irrational ones.
We ignore information that doesn't fit what we already believe. We want the quick win, the short-term thing. And maybe biggest of all, we're massively influenced by our culture, our groups, the people like us thing.
Which means empathy isn't just a soft skill here. It's foundational.
Absolutely. You have to genuinely try to see the world through their eyes, understand their hopes, yes, but also their frustrations, the little stories they tell themselves every day.
And the crucial bit is remembering.
Yeah.
They don't want what you want. They don't believe what you believe or care about your stuff for the same reasons you do.
You can't just project your own motivations onto them. It doesn't work.
The drill bit example really makes this clear.
Ah, the classic. People don't buy a quarter-inch drill bit.
They buy a quarter-inch hole. That's the feature versus benefit. But the sources say, wait, go deeper.
Right. Nobody really just wants a hole in their wall.
What's a hole for? Putting up a shelf. Okay, but why the shelf?
It's about the feeling the shelf gives them. Maybe it's feeling organized, uncluttered. Maybe it's pride in doing it themselves.
Or the status boost when someone admires their tidy room.
Or just the peace of mind.
Feeling safe, feeling competent, feeling respected. That's what they're actually buying. They're buying what your thing does for them emotionally and socially, not just the physical object.
And the sources remind us, underneath it all, most people feel a bit lonely sometimes or insecure, like they're just making it up as they go along.
But they also care deeply about something, so
Mhm.
effective marketing doesn't bulldoze them. It sort of dances with them, meets them where they are.
And every purchase, from the buyer's perspective, has to feel like a bargain for them.
Yeah, they have to feel they're getting more value, joy, status, relief, whatever it is, than the cash they're handing over, if they don't see that bargain.
It's not for them. And that's okay. That's useful information.
Exactly. Okay, so once you accept that people are driven by these deeper, often non-rational things, the next step isn't, how do I reach everybody?
No way! Trying to hit the mass market now. It's like shouting to a hurricane. Super expensive, and honestly, when people see too many similar choices, they often just shut down, do nothing.
Which leads right to this idea of the smallest viable market, the SVM.
Yeah, find that tiny group, the specific people who will especially benefit from what you do, who will really care. Start right there. Don't try to boil the ocean.
It reminds me of the 1,000 true fans idea for creators.
Very similar concept. Find those 1,000 people who love what you do so much they'll buy anything and tell everyone. That can be enough. It's a focused foundation.
And the glue that holds that SVM together and drives so much behavior is that powerful idea. People like us do things like this.
Mm-hmm. It's how
Yeah.
culture works, right?
Right.
We do things largely to fit in, to reinforce who we think we are, to act like the people we identify with act.
And this is where status comes in. The sources talk about different kinds.
Right, dominion status being the boss, having power over others, and affiliation status gaining respect and belonging within a group. Modern life, especially online, seems to lean more towards affiliation.
They make a distinction, too, between elite and exclusive. Elite is like outside recognition. The world says you're important.
But exclusive is internal. It's belonging. It's the yous in us versus them. And those exclusive groups, they often drive change because being a member gives you that affiliation status and reinforces the people like us feeling.
The Masai lion guardians example they use is fascinating.
It really is. They didn't just argue about ecology, they changed the culture. Saving a lion became the new way to show bravery and gain status within their community. They tied conservation to their existing people like us values.
And the NRA example, presented just as a marketing case study here, shows the power of focusing on a minimum viable audience.
Exactly. They don't need everyone. They target maybe 5 million members, less than 2% of the population. But they build a super strong people like us identity. They're okay with having insiders and outsiders.
And that focus gives them huge leverage because those members are activated, they're evangelists.
That's a strategic choice. And then there's the dog food example.
Right. The product is for the dog, but who are they marketing to?
The owner. It's all about how buying that brand makes the owner feel like they're being a good, caring, maybe even high-status pet parent.
Not necessarily about whether the dog thinks it tastes best.
Exactly. There's often a disconnect between the product's performance for the user, the dog, and its emotional appeal to the buyer, the owner.
Okay, so you've got empathy, you've found your smallest viable market.
Mhm.
How do you actually do this new kind of marketing? The sources lay out 5 steps.
Step 1, make something worth making. A real contribution. Seems obvious, but often skipped.
Step 2, design and build it specifically for that small group, your SVM, not for everyone.
Step 3, tell a story that resonates deeply with their existing worldview, their dreams, their narrative. It has to match them.
Step 4, and this is the big shift in order then you spread the word. It comes after the first 3.
Crucial point. And step 5, the one people often forget. Show up. Consistently, generously, reliably. For years, maybe.
That's how you build the trust and momentum needed to actually lead the change you want to see.
And a key part of spreading the word and showing up, especially if you're trying to change habits, is creating tension.
Not bad tension, like fear, which just makes people freeze.
No, productive tension. That feeling of being on the verge of something better, or the discomfort of missing out, or an unresolved problem nagging at you. Marketers create that pull towards change.
Taking the action relieves the tension, like the going out of business sale creates tension. I might miss a bargain. Game relieves it.
Or Slack's early growth. The tension was, my team's using this, I'm out of the loop. Joining Slack resolved that tension. Even learning something new involves that tension of not knowing right before you grasp it.
It connects to that pattern match versus pattern interrupt idea.
Right. Buying the same cereal. Easy pattern match, no tension needed. Switching your company's entire workflow to something new. That's a pattern interrupt.
And interrupts are hard. They need that tension to overcome inertia, the comfort of the old way.
Definitely.
So to stand out and create that pull, You can't just compete on the same stuff as everyone else. You need to choose your axis.
Yeah, find two dimensions, two attributes that are maybe overlooked or sit at extremes. Don't play in the crowded middle.
Then you build your thing and your story to be the obvious best choice in that unique corner of the map, specifically for your SVM.
The delivery service chart they use shows this well. Security versus speed. Regular mail is low on both.
Insured mail bumps up security. FedEx nails speed and decent security.
Armored truck, max security, low speed. Bike messenger equals max local speed, maybe low security. Each owns a specific spot, serves a specific need defined by those axes.
And price is a huge axis, too. Are you the cheapest, or are you deliberately expensive for a reason?
Because price isn't just cost recovery. It's marketing. It's a signal. It tells a story about value, about status, about who this is for.
A higher price can signal quality, exclusivity, or maybe just enable a better experience, like that luxury baker example.
Right. Charging more lets them have a nicer shop, staff who aren't rushed, beautiful packaging. It creates a whole feeling that justifies the cost for the right person.
Racing to be the cheapest. The sources say that's often a sign you're out of better ideas. It just promises less.
Sameness, but cheaper. It's not usually a path to making a unique contribution.
This also links to the free versus expensive idea.
Free ideas spread easily, recipes online, music given away. That builds audience and connection.
Then the expensive expressions of those ideas pay the bills, eating at the restaurant, buying the concert ticket.
You use free to earn attention and trust, and expensive to capture the deeper value for those who really want it.
And all of this really hinges on connection and trust, which brings us to permission marketing.
Yeah, this is framed as the absolute opposite of old-school interruption ads,
where they just barge in without asking.
Permission is earning the right, the privilege, to send messages that people actually expect and want to receive. They're anticipated, personal, relevant.
And that permission, the sources call it a huge asset, maybe more valuable than your factory or your office.
Because you should own it like your email list, not just rent access to followers on social media, where the platform is ultimately in control.
How do you earn it?
By showing up consistently with generosity, especially for the people excited about new things, the early adopters. Give value first before you ask for anything.
Like Marvel at Comic-Con. They're there to share previews, build buzz, connect with the core fans.
Not primarily to hard sell movie tickets right there. They're earning the right to keep talking to those fans later.
And building trust alongside permission. Trust seems incredibly scarce these days.
It really is. And you build it with actions, not just words. People remember what you did, how you handled a mistake, if you delivered on a promise long after they forget your slogan.
So if trust is built person to person, how do ideas spread now?
Horizontally, from us to us. Within tribes, between people who trust each other.
So you have to design for that, design for evangelism.
Exactly. Give your SVM something truly worth talking about, something that makes them look smart or helps them connect with others. It has to serve their needs, not just yours.
The Alcoholics Anonymous example is powerful here.
It is. Talking about AA isn't really marketing for the organization. It's a vital, generous act for the members themselves. It helps them and potentially helps someone else. That's why it spreads.
The sources also touch on the challenge for creators, the long tail problem.
Right. It's tough to make a living selling tiny amounts to millions of scattered people. You need to find your whales.
The dedicated fans, the loyal customers who stick around and contribute disproportionately over time.
The whales basically pay for the minnows, as they put it. You need that core group.
Okay, pulling this all together practically, we need to understand goals, strategy, and tactics.
Yeah, they break it down nicely. Your goal is the big change you're aiming for. That rarely changes.
Your strategy is the long-term approach to get there. That changes sometimes, but not often.
And your tactics are the specific things you do today to execute the strategy. Those change all the time based on results.
So Coke's goal might be selling soda. Their strategy may be mass market appeal. Their tactics are the constantly changing ads and promotions.
Whereas Patagonia's goal might be activating environmentalists, their strategy involves building a tribe around shared values. Their tactics are things like repair programs, activist campaigns, specific product choices, different goals, different strategies, different tactics.
And where does advertising fit back in?
Well, direct marketing, think Google Ads, Facebook clicks, that's often tactical, highly measurable, focused on immediate action.
Brand marketing is more strategic, building perception, trust, cultural meaning over the long haul. Harder to measure click by click.
Right. The direct platforms are great for measurable tactics, but you still need the underlying strategy, understanding who you're reaching and why, what their long-term value is.
There's also that interesting reminds me of concept.
Mm-hmm. How your work looks, feels, sounds, its design, its presentation, it signals identity. It makes people think of something else.
And a smart marketer designs intentionally for what they want the audience to be reminded of, not just what they like.
Like the Nigerian spam emails looking deliberately clumsy. That signals scam to most people, filtering them out so the scammer only deals with the most susceptible.
Or those plastic flares on an SUV, they don't really do anything functional.
But they signal something. Maybe ruggedness, maybe futuristic design. They remind the target buyer of something desirable. It's a status signal.
Okay, almost wrapping up, but a crucial point, the importance of actually shipping the work, getting it out there.
Yes. Perfect closes the door. That's a powerful line. Waiting for perfect means you never launch, never learn.
Aiming for good enough lets you ship, engage, start building trust, see what works, make promises.
Earn enrollment, get people involved, and then make it better based on real feedback. Shipping is the start of making change.
And finally, maybe the most important marketing job we have is marketing to ourselves.
It seems so. Acknowledging the internal stuff, the fear, the doubt that stops talented people from putting their contribution out into the world.
You need the craft, the skill to make the thing, but you also need the courage to make the change happen.
And if your marketing efforts fail, the sources suggest looking inward first. Did you really lead with empathy? Did you pick a specific audience? Did you find unique axes, go to the edges? Did you create the right tension?
Because the argument is this kind of marketing rooted in empathy, serving a specific group, building tension for good, connecting tribes, earning trust, giving people something to talk about. That's what actually works now.
It's not necessarily the easy path. It requires generosity, patience, courage.
But potentially much more rewarding, really centered on serving people and helping them get where they want to go.
Exactly, making change happen.
So after digging into all this, if marketing really is about making change happen for others, by seeing their world and helping them move forward, maybe the question for you listening is, what change are you uniquely set up to make, and who is it for?